Alright, hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about and review Cruis'n Blast on the Nintendo Switch. Now, this game is something special. However, I'm sure you also have concerns if you're watching reviews on this game because it is a $40 price tag for the launch, and it is lacking in content. But don't worry, I'm here. I'm going to let you know whether or not this game is going to be worth your money or not. And speaking about money, before we get into the gameplay here, I just wanted to let you know I am not reviewing a free review copy. I spent $40 of my own on this game, so I will be able to kind of offer the perspective of, did I get my money's worth before we head into this. So this is a Switch exclusive game currently, but things could change in the future depending on how successful this is. So we're looking at some gameplay here that I recorded myself, and yes, I am playing as a bright purple with neon armor, head plating, Triceratops. This game is something else, let me tell you. So, the history of this game, it actually has been out in the arcades for a few years. I have played it a handful of times, had a lot of fun with it. It's a very loud, colorful, bombastic game, and they've actually translated that really well into the Switch version of this, as you can see. Colors are just bursting off the screen. And the first thing that you're really going to notice is that this game is running at 60 frames a second on the Switch. I couldn't believe it, because most of the times when I play a game on the Switch, it's running at 30 frames, 20 frames. I mean, Switch games are known for performance issues, but this game nearly rock solid 60 frames a second the whole time. I was really, really blown away by that. It does have frame rate dips, it does have some performance issues here and there, but for the most part, this is a rock solid 60 frames per second game. The loading times are also not all that terrible. I mean, for a Switch game, this is one of the most beautiful, optimized, well-running games that I have ever played on the entire platform, and that's saying something. And as you can see here, visually, I mean, it's got some great reflections going on, it's got great environmental effects going on. There's a lot going on in this game. So I know the visuals are the first thing you notice, so I wanted to talk about that first. And I think it looks amazing. The colors, I don't care if it looks like it's too much going on. I think it really works for the arcadey sense of this game. But something else I have to remember, this game was originally for the arcades, so it's meant to grab kids' attention as they're walking by, and all the lights and the sounds and the sirens and the big loud noises and the colors. I mean, this is a game meant to grab your attention, and it certainly does that in the home console release. It feels faithful as well. Before we move into the core of the gameplay for this, I should mention that there are quality of life improvements to this version of the game. Now, I'm not an expert of the arcade version, but they have added things such as being able to drift and constantly boost, and apparently I've been told that the arcade version boosting this often is not really a thing in that version of the game. So they have done things to accommodate this for home console and playing with a controller, and it plays really well with a controller. So let's move into the controls next. You have your basic drift, and you do that by using the right trigger. You double tap to do wheelies, and the wheelies can kind of shoot you over rival cars and do all these tricks and stunts and stuff so that you don't get knocked into and slow down. The drifting, most importantly for an arcade racer, feels really good in this game. The drifting feels, honestly, fantastic. It's very satisfying. It's got 3 different levels, so the longer you drift, the longer your boost bar on the top of the screen builds up, as you see right there. And if you hold it, it'll eventually turn purple, and that will give you the longest boost. And you can trick off the ramps and everything. The ramps give you a little bit of burst speed, but most importantly, it allows you to not get knocked into by an opponent and lose some speed. Now, I know a lot of you are watching this review because you're concerned about the content. This is a $40 game for the launch, and yes, you can see this entire game in 2 hours. There are just about 30 tracks. When I counted, it was 26, but apparently there's 30. Maybe there's a couple of hidden ones I'm not aware of, but it has no online multiplayer. I know you're concerned about a arcade racing game coming out in 2021 without online multiplayer. It is a little disappointing. There's also no online leaderboards. Now, the developers have said, depending on how the support is for this game, they're thinking about adding that in the future. So if this game sells well enough, maybe we'll see more Cruis'n ports, maybe we'll see online multiplayer added to this. So if you are on the fence about this, I'd encourage you to pick it up just so you can support the devs and, give them incentive to add online multiplayer. Now, when it comes to single-player content, there's different tours. There's 6 different tours, 4 races each, but here's the kicker. There's really 5 main tracks. Now, they did a really good job of masking this, and yes, as you can see, this game is really wacky. I'm actually racing as a unicorn, to say the least. There's a really interesting set of vehicles in this game that had me laughing out loud as they're doing barrel rolls and everything through the courses. But before we get sidetracked, There are 5 core levels in this game, and then there are alterations. There's different themes, like there's a UFO theme, there's a helicopter chase theme, there's a dinosaur theme, there's a thunderstorm theme, and then as you go through these different theme tours, essentially, the levels that you're familiar with racing on change visually and slightly with, course alterations. And let me tell you, they did a good job of masking that fact, because my first run through the game, it wasn't until the very end where I was like, wait a minute, haven't I raced on this course before? But it took me a long time to realize, because visually and thematically, they do a really good job of kind of setting it apart and making it feel like you really are racing on 25, 26, 30 different tracks. Now, there are also arcade mode in this. I didn't really play around with that too much. I found those courses to be kind of just way too similar to the ones that are in the standard mode here that you're watching. So yeah, there's a lot of tracks, but there's also not a lot of tracks, depending on how you view it. Now, what is the replayability? What is the reason for you to keep playing this game after you've got gold medals on all the courses? Well, there are different difficulties. I did beat the game and get all gold medals on the normal tracks. I tried a little bit on hard mode, and you want to make sure that you have maxed out stats on your vehicles, which doesn't take too long, actually. A change from the arcade version is that, well, you can reach level 5, which is, from what I hear, the arcade version goes up to like level 99 to encourage people to keep grinding the game and giving the game their money. This version, you can reach max level really quickly. It's not too difficult to get a vehicle up that high, and you get different cosmetics and like neon lights that you can add on. It's all fun. It's actually kind of fun to customize. Like, you can change the colors of your Triceratops and his horns and everything. It's kind of fun. But other than that, other than just trying to achieve first place placements in the higher difficulties, which, yeah, there's a ton of rubber banding, and it's actually kind of challenging on hard mode. I can only imagine how hard it is on the most extreme difficulty. And also, besides unlocking all the vehicles and, getting them all max stats, there's really nothing else to keep you going. There is a time trial mode, but this is where your important decision comes. Are you like me? Do you like time trials? If you like Time Attack, this may be a game for you, because I do love Time Attack. I love chasing, shaving off just that fraction of a second to get a better time, and because I am a speedrunner, I do upload my times to speedrun.com. I'm actually going to include a link in the video description to the speedrun leaderboard for this game, so if you need extra incentive, if the devs never add their own online leaderboard, go to the speedrun.com leaderboard and upload your times. Try and beat some of my times that are on there. Have a friendly little competition, and I think that's what's going to give you your bang for your buck in this. So if you are into Time Attack and you're okay with uploading your videos and times to speedrun.com, it kind of gives the game a whole new life and a way to kind of breathe, longevity into it. Now, if you're not into Time Attack, I would warn you that $40 might be a bit much for what you're going to get out of this game, unless you're okay with the fact that, you might only get 2 hours of enjoyment, unless you're doing split-screen multiplayer, which it supports up to 4, and the frame rate will drop to about 30. But I think, if you're into arcade racers, this is exactly what you're probably looking for. I haven't played an arcade racer this fun that had me smiling the whole time I was playing it. My first night playing this game, I played it for nearly 8 hours as of making this review. I think most people that reviewed this game probably only played it maybe 3 or 4 hours at most, but I kept grinding the time trials, having a ton of fun, and it does have that grindy aspect and that fun aspect of time trial grinding, because you can really just inch out just that little bit of extra time through optimal drifting and boosting and whatnot. So there's a lot of different things to keep me going. Whether or not there's enough to keep you going, that's the question. So that's why I mentioned the speedrun.com leaderboard. I think that's the way you're going to get the most time out of this game, unless you wait for the devs to see if they do anything with online leaderboards, but they're not going to do that unless people buy the game, so it's an interesting dilemma that we have here. But yeah, that's about going to do it for the game. The last thing I guess I should mention is the sound design, the music, super catchy. The title screen music, the in-game music is, it's acceptable. It's fun, it's catchy, it's not like super, can't get it out of your head kind of thing. And also, as you can see, the levels have a lot going on with different things just constantly happening, despite these hazards never really having a direct impact on what's actually happening. Like, you're never going to fail a race because a T-Rex grabbed you or anything. All this stuff is just cosmetic. There's really nothing that's going to end your race because a helicopter shot down the bridge in front of you. This happens in every race, so it's all just for the looks and the fun of it. Anyway, guys, I hope this review is helpful in helping you decide whether or not you wanted to pick this game up. I've been having a ton of fun with it, and I plan on continuing to grind the time trials, and I hope you do too. Hope you join me in the leaderboards for this game, unofficial leaderboards on speedrun.com, that is. Hey, the arcade version has online leaderboards built in. Maybe the Switch version will eventually too, if it gets enough support. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the leaderboards.